Hello everyone and welcome to TGP1. It's season 43. It's rounds 11 and 12 for the Hungaro Ring and Catalunya tonight. I am joined by the one and only Mr. Giapelli. We were on board with ERT Casper as he's invalidated his lap just under 10 minutes to go in the session. It is the championship leader, Machine Ireland, leading the way on a 14-2, looking pretty quick. Calm following him. It is Machine Ireland leading the way in the championship, 164 points. His nearest rival is Giovanni, down in 8th place, so it struggles for Roy at the moment. Aidan Griffin's in 3rd place in the race qualifying tonight, but 3rd place in the championship. Court Gill 135, and then we've got a bit of a gap to Phil Bardwell in 4th place. He's on 74 points. Jean, who I believe is not here tonight, who picked up a win last week at Singapore, is in 5th place in the standings on 73, joined by Dom Smith in 6th and 72. Then Casper, the defending champion, down in 7th place on 70 points. Not the season he's wanting so far. Two part-timers, Cam on 70 and 8th, Kieran in 9th on 63, and Arthur on 57 rounds out the top 10 as Speed Kai takes pole position. He won 2 races this season already. Luca, what are your thoughts going into this session tonight?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the lovely introduction there. But I mean, it's going to be a close one. The Hungaroring always spits out a lot of drama from different strategies, and the fact that it's a struggle to follow through the middle section, and then everybody's trying to get that move done on the only real overtaking area on that main straight. Sorry, so it's going to be an interesting one to see who will come out on top here. Kieran obviously showing off his as he goes quite wide through the chicane section, and that's going to invalidate his lap attempt there. But Kieran showing off the early pace there. We saw New Zealand Cam on the mediums earlier in the session as well, putting in a blistering time. So I think this is going to be really close and come down to the wire at the end of the qualifying.
Well, we know Kieran's got the pace. He's rivaled the likes of Jack Hickey for championships. Wasn't able to come out on top, but we know he's got it in the locker. New Zealand Cam, obviously season 40 champion. Not been here as much as he would have liked this season, but the man challenging for this season title. He's 20 points behind Machine Ireland. He's 6 positions behind. He needs to get a lap together here, Roy. He's about 2 tenths up in his time. It's purple at the moment. Not going to be enough to challenge the front row unless he has a blistering final sector, or if Cody's have lied to me on his split screen, which is very possible. Round the final corner, he swoops to the curb as much as he possibly can, takes as much track on the exit, and it's up into the top 5 for Roy. Work to do for the former 20 race winner driver, and we'll see if he can get close. Aidan Griffiths was pipped by his teammate Phil, who managed to sneak up into 4th place just before Roy set his lap time. And I think it's going to be Lewis Craig next to cross the line in the Red Bull, 11th place for him. Not been a magic season for the Scotsman so far. He was close to challenging for the TGP2 Championship, just past it. He was battling the likes of Cam, Alistair Bain and Luca in the commentary box. Lewis Craig up in to 8th place. It's a 4/10th improvement, so Lewis might be one to watch out for later on. Wet Lemons, who's had quick pace as well this season, I think he's the only man on a lap. If Luca, you want to take us through the lap if he's going on, and I think he's actually just backed out.
He has just backed out, unfortunately. So we're just going to go and try and find who's currently on a lap at the moment. It looks like Casper is starting a lap, so I'll talk you through this one on board as we come into the first corner, and he is kissing that apex quite nicely, straighten up the car to get maximum traction out of that with that DRS wide open. This one here, you're coming into the left-hander and he's swooped in really aggressively there, but you've got to go to the middle of the track to be able to open up into this turn here. On the way up to turn 4, up the hill, you want to be looking for the right-hand side and clipping that curb as he does nicely. Takes a lot of curb on the left-hand side and gets a bit squirrely in the corner, and then you want to come nice and tight into that hairpin. Don't touch it too much because it will spin you out as he goes wide there, and I think he's going to have lost some time. Go across the curb as you don't want to get onto the middle of that curb. Let the car flow through nicely through that chicane. Over to the left-hand side for this very quick right-hander here. Let's see what the sector time is coming up to be here. He's 3/10 up on his previous best. Again, you got to get in. He's really throwing the car in, and I think he's possibly losing some time from doing that. Again, hug this apex. Don't touch that inside concrete because it will spin you out. Don't go too far wide onto that pit because it's dirty, and then you want to really maximize the exit onto the back straight. Full power, DRS open, comes across the line to put a 1:14.3, top 3, and I think he lost some time in that lap as he was going through.
Well, it's 2 laps now in a row. Casper struggled through the middle sector. Someone that's not struggling through the middle sector is New Zealand coming 4th place in the Aston. Won the championship in season 4. He's looking very quick on this lap. It's a bit of a moment at the front of the car. Is it going to be enough to go on pole? It is. It's the first driver into the 13s. It's a 13.9 for Cam. That's a wonderful lap time from him. And it looked like it lost a bit of time on that final corner, but it's enough for provisional pole with just over 4 minutes to go in the qualifying session. Court Gill now, next man up, I believe, to set a lap. He is third in the championship, 40 points adrift of the man leading the way in third place, Machine Ireland. Is Court going to have enough to put a fight on this championship? It doesn't look like he's using the ERS. I think Court has called it quits on this lap, maybe saving the field to go again on the next one. Matt Tibos, who had a spin earlier on in the session, that's why he's so down low in the order in 10th place. We'll see what the Alpine's time as he comes round that final corner, nice and tight to the pit wall to use all the track on the left hand side on the exit, using the ERS a wee bit. It is an improvement in time, but not on position. So Matt Tibble's work to do with 3 minutes to go, and I think everyone bar Court now is going to be getting ready for their final runs. I think Court's going to have to go again. Unless he comes into the pits, is he going to risk coming in? Not much time to do so. Yeah, Court's going to be the first man to finish his final run, and we'll see. We're on board with the Mercedes driver. He'll open a DRS, use the battery. He had 2 out laps, so his tyres should be up to temperature. Will it take a bit of the performance out? We'll let you know in about 1 minute and 15 seconds. Court now, not the turn 1 that everyone else seems to have been having. That was a bit of a troublesome corner for Court now. He brakes very late into the middle of the circuit. It's looked very, very harsh from this first sector split time as we're coming up the hill now for Court. It's not been a fantastic lap for the Dutch driver, and he's just improving and no more. So he's 7 tenths adrift of pole position, and if he wants to get pole, he's going to have to set a blistering final moment of this lap. Now, the right-hander in the chicane through to the left is a bit better than Casper's, but it didn't look very quick. Swoop left, and then you swoop right, just letting the car flow, using the downforce that the Mercedes has to offer, and it just doesn't look like it's going to be calm, quick for Court tonight, but we'll see as he comes now to the final few corners of the lap. He's improving just and no more. He might be challenging the likes of Lewis and Aiden come the end of this session for the 4th row of the grid, but it looks like that front row start for Court Gill is not going to be coming in the Hungaro ring. He'll swoop round, almost clips the pit wall on the right hand side, and he's had a big tongue slapper coming out the final corner, and it's not going to be an improvement for Court, and that was a very, very rough final lap for the Mercedes driver.
It was, yes, but I mean the thing that I noticed on that lap was he was very smooth on the throttle and brakes. So I'm hoping that'll convert to race pace for him, and he'll be able to look after his tyres and really do something from ninth position in there. He's had some really good races throughout this season. He's had a win or two, so I do expect to see Court up at the top there if he can get out of the traffic and really get some pace going from there. I think the next to come across the line to start their final lap is Dom Smith, based on the outlaps that I've been seeing here. So I'm going to stay on board with Dom Smith as he's coming around the final 2 corners here. I don't think he's going to go for a warm-up lap like Court did, but we'll see. So he's coming round, final corner, and let's see what he can do here.
Well, here we go. Dom Smith, the Manxman, had a great season last season in TGP1. He's trying to replicate that for me. He's in a bit of a title battle for 5th place at the moment. Nice and early on the brakes into turn 1. Doesn't clip the curb like Casper did on his lap, but it's looking smooth from Dom Smith, just like his teammate. We'll see if Dom Smith can get a bit quicker pace and try challenge his teammate for 9th position into the middle of the circuit. Don't clip the curb on the right, clip it here. Use a little bit of curb on the left, and now we're running up the hill, swooping left. Dom will try not to invalidate. It's not an improvement in time, but it's looking smooth and gives him the opportunity to try challenge the likes of Lewis, Craig and Aidan Griffiths later on. He's in the 15s, Dom, so not what he's going to be wanting, using as much curb as he dares in the chicane. Now swoops left, and he'll swoop right as well, not taking as much curb as other drivers has. Dom maybe not feeling as confident in the cockpit tonight as others, maybe not having the sweat practice that others have had through the fast right-hander, and he's looking very quick through the second sector. He's picked up 2 tenths here. We'll see if it's enough to challenge his teammate in 9th place for a 5th row start for Dom Smith. The 2 Mercedes battling out. They lead the way in the constructors. We'll see if Dom can put his name in contention for a decent starting position here in qualifying. It's not looking quick round the final corner, just like his teammate. We'll see if he's moving up the order. Only 10th place for Dom, and I think it's Machine Ireland is next on the road to set his lap time. We'll see as he comes round the right-hander final corner. He's currently provisionally third. We'll see if he's going to move up the order. No, it is an improvement in time, but not position. Casper next round the final corner. It looks like he might be challenging for pole position here if he's quick enough. Only second place, and Cam's looking safe every single time. And Kai has had a spin. He's in the wall, so Kai's not going to improve. Lewis Craig has just gone up to 5th place and knocked Jovial Manatee out of the top 5.
Aidan Griffin has pulled into the pits. Phil Bardwell coming into the final sector of sector 2, and he's just invalidated. I think gone a little bit too wide there, so you'll be gutted by that because I think he was making some improvements there. Matt Tibos now on a lap. He is a 10th down in his sector 2 time, so I don't see an improvement there unless he can pull something out of the bag, and I think that'll be qualifying over.
There's only Matt Tibbles left to go, and he's looks like he's called it a day. Yes, that is your qualifying order, because Kai is in the wall. So that has cost him a chance at pole position. The man has got 2 Grand Prix wins this season, and a late blast there from Lewis Craig. He started the session on medium TC, he's turned it off, and well, he's turned on the farm. Only 1 place behind his teammate, and that is exactly what Red Bull needed, and they knocked Jovial Manatee down to 6th place, and Machine Ireland will be very thankful for his teammate on that lap there, as everyone now is calling it a day in this qualifying session. But it is the part-timer, the season 40 champion, New Zealand Cam on pole, setting the early pace here at the Hungaroring. But we've got 25 laps racing, gentlemen, and we have got safety cars turned on for the opening round here. So it is Cam and Casper on the front row of the grid. How many times have we said that over the years? Kai and Machine Ireland on the second row. Lewis Craig gets a very solid 5th place start with Jovial Manatee in 6th place. It's an all McLaren 4th row with Phil leading from Aidan, and it's all Mercedes 5th. It's Court from Dom, Matt Tibbles and Wet Lemons 11th and 12th. Darky with a 13th place, that's good for him. Chris Johnson picking up the final points, playing position for qualified. Jake in 15th, Neil Jack in 16th, and Arthur was the only one who didn't set a lap. He also retired very early on in the session. But interesting to see Kai, when the pressure was mounting there, he did put it in the wall, a bit of an accident at the chicane. Is that something we might see for the guys up front in the race? That pressure, that battle between Dom, Jean and Keenan is kind of spicing up. They're all 70 to 75 points. It's getting very interesting in the midfield.
It certainly is, but not to mention the fact that Max Verstappen was in the wall on his warm-up lap a few years ago at this exact same circuit, and he turned that around. So I'm hoping good fortunes for Kieran. But yeah, pressure's on, obviously, as we're starting to get further down into the season. So it's all really important that the drivers keep their head, especially in qualifying where you can make or break a race. But let's see how this start goes. It's very important to get a good start here and not get caught up in turn 1, turn 2 and 3.
Well, we don't want any Valtteri Bottas bowling strikes in TGP1 tonight, but it's all about qualifying. These battles where Roy, behind Lewis, you can get caught up in the midfield battle and that costs you races. This cost Court a chance at the win last week. He was so quick, but we're on the front row of the grid. It's 4-5 lights. It's Cam versus Casper off the line. And away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Casper has had a fantastic start as we go on board with the Ferrari. He's going to try and get side by side, but the soft tyres now are going to cost him a chance of making a move, and he might be very late on the brakes because the Ferrari down the inside. He'll push the Aston off, but the medium's not providing the grip he needs in the early phases of the Grand Prix, and Cam hangs on. Can Kai sneak it down the inside of his former rival? Not quite there. Looks like Lewis Craig's been passed by Phil and Jovial Manatee. That's a move Roy needed to make there in the early phases of the Grand Prix. Aidan hanging on as well. He's getting passed by Court. They're side by side coming up the hill, and Aidan has the yield. He's off the track, but he manages to save it. Lewis Craig and Aidan dropping places to the faster guys, but Roy really needed to make that move early on to get right on the back of his championship rival.
All line astern and very clean towards the back of the grid. There's a couple of places moving about here, but as the drivers are starting to settle in now, it's all about can they stay within that all-important 1 second DRS zone, especially given that DRS will be activated at the end of this lap. That is so important for the drivers. As we actually have moves between Kieran and Casper here, going through that right-hander just before the penultimate hairpin onto the back straight, really jostling for position here, which I didn't really expect, given that they should be settling in to get that DRS, but now it's going to be Kieran who's going to be exposed here, as Cam has already Phil, a 1.1 second gap, and there's going to be a move coming into turn one here. Is he going to make the move around the outside? Not quite, and they're just going to wait for the second DRS zone. We've got Machine Island giving pressure onto Casper here. Can he do something here? No, Casper shuts the door, and it's going to stay for another lap.
Well, it looked like Machine Island was going to try to do the switchback on the Finnish driver. Wasn't quite able to get the grip. The top two on the soft compounded tyres as Kieran gets back into the 1 second DRS zone off cam ahead. Then third, all the way down to 13th on the mediums. So we'll see later on in the Grand Prix, 25 laps of racing. We'll see what strategy is the correct one to be on. Matt Tibbles got past Darky earlier on in the lap. Now Darky under pressure from Wet Lemons behind. We'll keep an eye on that and we'll see. But Machine Island looked very racy after Kieran caught Casper off guard down the inside into P2. That's a move Kieran needed to make on the softs. He needs to use them when he can. They go off very quickly around here, so he's only got a limited amount of time to put the pressure on Cam ahead. Cam already locking up earlier on in this lap and doing so again. The Aston using every bit of tyre life in the tyre at the moment. Chris Johnson's had a bit of a moment. He's dropping down the order. Wet Lemons has got past Darky now. We're going to go on board with the Red Bull of Machine Island. He's the closest man in the top five to making a move. Not quite close enough. Is Phil close enough? No, the DRS train saving everyone at the moment. Lewis Craig under pressure from Court Gilcourt. Not quite close enough this time. Might be close enough down the hill though. He's so close to the Red Bull driver who looks to go defensive but doesn't quite go, and it might cost Lewis a chance at P7. Court Gill round the outside. That will turn back to the outside. Not quite going to have the move down here. Is he going to have it up the hill into turn number 4? No. Lewis Craig with beautiful car placement as he runs wide. Going to pick up a warning there. Lewis defending for his life and letting the top 6 peel away. This is one Court's going to have to get done sooner rather than later. Not going to be able to make the move at this part of the track. Further forward though, Cam not got the advantage he had earlier on this lap. It seems that the battling between second and third was the reason that time went up a bit, and now these guys catching up a bit of natural selection, picking its order, and now can we see the likes of Casper and Machine Island, who will have the tyre temp now that we're on lap number 3, about to start lap number 4, be able to challenge these guys on the softs.
Jovial Manatee looking a bit exposed here. He's dropped the gap to Machine Island, and Phil Bardwell all over the back of him, ready to pounce on that DRS. He's going to get DRS here. Jovial Manatee doesn't have the DRS, and they're both using the ERS to try and attack and defend, likely on board with Phil Bardwell. Is he going to try and make a move? No, he stays back for now. But there's moves behind with Court making a good move around the outside. And will he get the DRS? He gets the DRS as well. Phil Bardwell alongside Jovial Manatee here, and he gets around the outside. And that's a brilliant move from Phil Bardwell. And he'll be able to now stretch his legs and hopefully catch up to Machine Island.
Well, not the pace you'd imagine from Giovanni earlier on in this Grand Prix. He's struggling at the moment to get to grips with the car, with the traction, and he's just losing time in all the exits of the corners. And Phil exposed them all on the start-finish right there. And now can Phil get towards that top 4 battle and maybe pick up a third win in 2 seasons of DGB1 here? Lewis Craig did get passed by Court earlier on as well on the back finish straight. We expected that move to come. Lewis Craig going to be battling the likes of Dom and Aiden for points in this race, but Lewis struggling off the road a few times. And Machine Island now very close to the podium place of Casper. Casper struggling to get past the likes of Kieran and Cam. The softs just hanging on to performance at the moment, but we'll see how much longer that will last. Kieran now going to come round the final corner. A bit of understeer on that Cyber. Is that going to cost him an opportunity at making a move? No, because the DRS is so powerful. Down even get to the braking zone, and it looks like Kieran is going to be into the lead, and Cam has shut the door on Casper, and that's caused Casper to spin as Casper tried to sneak it down the inside. We had a pretty bad view of it to see who was at fault, but Casper did go for a late lunge and Cam slammed the door shut. We'll hear about that later on in the group chat, we imagine. And Machine Island wasn't able to make a move because of that, but Machine Island picking up more points due to other drivers making mistakes. Jovial Manny wasn't close enough to Phil there to make a move, and Court is actually very close to the back of Roy. Roy is struggling here tonight.
He is. Just going back to that Casper move, it looked like Casper just got a bit late under the braking. Maybe he got under the dirty air of Kieran in front and just couldn't get the car stopped by the looks of it. So I think, unfortunately for Casper, that's on him for that one. But yeah, that's ruined his race, unfortunately. And it's so easy to do, especially when you're following 2 cars. You want to try and get as close as possible. And it's just put him down back in ninth, and I think now he's going to have to start thinking about what he can do from a strategy point of view to try and make his way back up the grid. Jovial Manatee now half a second behind Phil Bardwell, who's exposed without the DRS. What can Phil do to defend here? He's got a good amount of battery still to keep him behind as we actually see Kieran drop down a place now as Cam has made a move back around the outside. Machine Island all over the back of Kieran. Can he make a move here, go around the outside? He thinks better of it, and there's a safety car.
Yeah, we were watching that there. New Zealand come back down the inside on Kieran. We caught a beautiful view of it, and the safety car actually saved Kieran a wee bit. Machine Ireland was alongside him, almost wheel to wheel, but Machine Ireland, the safety car came out in the wrong time for him. But we did catch the move for the lead, and Phil saving himself a bit of pressure now. And this doesn't help Casper now. The safety car's come out too late for him. He's going to lose. Well, he's already lost the positions after the spin, but we'll see now. We imagine that the likes of Cam and Kieran, going to come into the pits. They're on the softs. This is the perfect time for them to go onto the hard composite tyre. I imagine the likes of Machine Iron, Phil and Roy, Lewis Craig, Court Gill, they're all going to come in and just go onto the hards now, because we're going to have about 15, 16 laps of racing. The hards could go that distance, but then we've got a few laps to calm down, catch the breath, and just see what likes of Casper and Dom Smith and maybe a Wet Lemons can do to try and put themselves into this race for contention. Obviously, we've got possibilities of more safety cars, but this track's all about track position. You do want to come into the pits and get onto some fresh rubber, and the top six all doing so, and Red Bull and McLaren going to double stack.
Yeah, the double stacking here is going to be detrimental to some of the drivers, considering how close they all were on the field. But I tell you who this is going to help here. It's going to be Casper and Dirkie, who had to pit early on in the race to go onto some hard tyres from his starting tyre. So this will help him bring him into the mix again, considering he was about 21, 20 seconds behind. So his race has been saved from the safety car. And most drivers now moving to hards. Wet Lemons, I think, is the only driver who stayed out and is on the mediums. We'll see how that transpires later in the race for him, and if his strategy will be pulled off there. Chris Johnson, another one on the hard tyres, he's still stayed out as well. But all bar Dirkie, Chris Johnson and Wet Lemons have come into the pits to change their tyres. So it seems to be the drivers thinking that there's not going to be another safety car later on in the race, and this is going to be their only chance to be able to get an advantage.
Well, the guys that double stacked, Lewis Craig, Aidan Griffiths, they lost 2 places in the pits, but Wet Lemon's still to stop, so they should get back past him. So not having to battle the likes of Casper, who we imagine would get past and sail off into the sunset, might save Aidan and Lewis a bit of time. So not too much against doing the double stack under the safety car. And yeah, if there is no safety car after this one, it is the perfect time to stop. Get onto the fresh rubber. Staying out just hampers your opportunity. Chris Johnson as well didn't stop, so they're going to get 2 places picked up. But yeah, track position important around a track like the Hungaroring, and there's just not enough laps as well if there's not another safety car to come in and pick up solid points. So yeah, the likes of Darky down in 15th, Jake in 14th, who's already stopped. They're going to pick up 2 places and put them both into the points. And yeah, like you said, Darky was about 22 seconds back after his damage, I think it was earlier on, and stopping early. This puts him back into contention to at least score something later on, and maybe having to battle Chris and Wet Lemons on fresher rubber. But it's all about track position. It's very hard to make the move unless you're in about 5 tenths in that DRS. It's back underway, hopefully on the next time we get back round to this part of the track, and we'll see, do the worn mediums have that life and give him an opportunity to get away from the guys and try and get a decent in-lap. And Chris will be a bit of a safety buffer, not costing Wet Lemons too much time, you'd imagine, unless it's a bad restart. But yeah, Cam, he's not going to be too happy seeing 2 cars ahead of him for a restart when he was leading the way, is he?
No, he's not, but at the same time, I think given the age of the lap, the tyres that are on Wet Lemons and Chris Johnson, I don't think it's going to be too hard for Cam, Kieran and Machine Island to dispatch those 2 front runners in the early stages of the safety car restart. I think looking at the position changes that we've seen across the board, the real winner out of all of this at the moment is Arthur with 5 positions gained from the start. And the real loser at the moment, as we saw earlier on, was Casper, who lost 7 positions. So Seems to be that the pit stops haven't really changed anything across the board, given that everybody did stop at the same time. But we'll all see what happens when Wet Lemons and Chris Johnson do this restart to see how quickly that they drop down and if their move to stay out has paid off.
Well, hopefully we'll get going. This time around, you can see the tires on the left-hand side of your screen. The first and last on the mediums, everyone else on the hard compound. We are getting underway in the next few moments. And we'll see if Wet Lemons and Chris have picked the right choice to stay out. Maybe trying to do something different to just put themselves within shouting distance of picking up a decent result tonight. Wet Lemons basically becomes the safety car now. He lets the safety car peel off into the sunset, into the pits. They cannot overtake until they cross the start finish line or until the safety car crosses the second safety car line. So Wet Lemons now can go when he chooses. And as a former driver in TGP1, you probably want to go as late as humanly possible, but he's gone. We'll go on board with a kick cyber of Chris Johnson. He's on 7-lap old hard tyres. We'll see what his run on the start-finish straight is going to be. Is he going to be in danger or is he going to be attacking? It looks like he might be in danger of losing out to his former teammate New Zealand Cam. He goes very deep on the hard compounded tyre. He's going to swoop round the outside. Wet Lemons has had a bit of a moment, and New Zealand Cam has made the move stick. Chris Johnson not going to fight his teammate too hard and let him go as well, and that is the perfect restart for Cam. Can he challenge now up the hill on Sean, who's currently holding the lead, but it might not be for much longer, because here comes Cam up the hill now, swooping round the outside, forced off the track. He's still alongside. He'll go down the inside, avoiding the curb to not spin like Matt Tibbles did in qualifying, and he makes the move stick before we get to the chicane. Perfect restart for Cam. Can Kieran get past now?
That was a brilliant move from Cam to start off with, and this is only going to help Cam extend his lead as he's Wet Lemons is now holding back Kieran, who was very easily let pass by his teammate Chris Johnson at that restart, as you can imagine. Machine Ireland must be absolutely seething as he does actually make a move down the inside of the corner. A good move that he had to get done early there. As we see Phil Bardwell now trying to make a move as he makes contact with Chris Johnson, who just shut the door. DRS is enabled, but New Zealand Cam must be laughing as he drives off into the sunset and has gotten this early start on the safety car restart, as I'd imagine would have happened. And Wet Lemons is not giving up here. He's still in this, still trying to keep everybody back. But it's only a matter of time as Machine Island looking to try to go down the inside, but Wet Lemons shuts the door again. So these early drivers who are behind Cam really, really frustrated by the slow Wet Lemons with those older tyres on. But he's doing a great job keeping everybody up behind. Sorry, lag on my screen. I thought Machine Island went flying off into the wall, but all looks okay now.
And here he goes down the inside of the chicane, very late on the brakes for the championship leader, and that is why he is leading the championship. What a move that was from the Irishman, back up into the podium places. Sean doing absolutely everything he can to defend for his life at the moment, and he's done a wonderful job, but isn't able to hang on just anymore. He's losing so much time. Phil almost made a wonderful pass on Chris, but Chris is frustrating the Englishman in the McLaren at the moment. Can he go down the inside here? No, he can't. Lewis and Arthur have had contact further back. It looked like Arthur got past Aiden and then tried to make a move on Lewis, and they've made contact and lost out to Dom and Jake. Lewis not going to be happy with that. But now, on the back straight, is Chris going to finally be able to get past Sean? It looks like he's going to be able to do it down the inside before we get to the braking zone, and he is down the inside. And here goes Phil, and he's made contact with Sean. Wet Lemons of Joe Vilmani looked like he was involved in a bit of argy-bargy as well there. John of Humanity has just managed to stay out of it, and he's still behind Phil, but Phil has spun Wet Lemons round, and staying out has just been a disaster for Wet Lemons after the early phases have been able to defend well, but not enough in the tank for Roy to get past Phil now, and he's under pressure from Court and Casper is not without a shout at picking up a podium here, but the top 3 seconds adrift now of Chris in fourth. Chris doing a wonderful job on those hards.
He is doing a wonderful job, and he's bringing a great rear gunner here for Kieran to hold back the floods that it's Phil Bardwell, Jovial Manatee, Court, and Casper. However, Kieran has put some real effort in to get within that DRS zone of Cam after Cam made that early move on from the safety car restart. So can Kieran start to make inroads into Cam's lead here? I'm sure he's going to get DRS on the back straight to try and keep himself from going there, but Cam is still showing some excellent pace as he was showing in qualifying. And we've got Machine Island coming into the mix here. So Cam not one to get comfortable at the moment, but Chris Johnson, now under pressure from Phil Bardwell, who makes an easy move there, will easily be ahead into turn one. Can Jovial Manatee make that move as well on Chris Johnson? Yes, he can. So Jovial Manatee has managed to pop the cork on the bottle at the moment, as Court now trying to make a move around the outside of Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson is dropping like a dead weight at the moment as Casper now makes the move on him, and I think it's time for Chris Johnson to consider looking to come into the pits.
Well, it's like a boulder being thrown off a bridge, because here comes Aidan Griffiths now round the outside of turn number 4. Not got enough track to make the move there for Aidan down the inside though, Willie. No, not quite. Forces Chris off the road and down into the inside of the chicane goes Aidan now. Finally getting past Chris and can try and get back within the DRS of the top 7. Phil Bardwell picks up a time penalty. That's going to drop him down the order come the end of the Grand Prix, and that is 5 seconds back now. And could we see another safety car? No, it looks like Darky is retired in the pit lane, so we should be safe from a safety car now. 8 tenths is the gap to the guy in first place for Keenan. Is he going to be close enough to try and close that gap to around about 3 tenths? Not quite close enough to close it too much. Yellow flags in the first sector though, going to stop him having any opportunity of making a move this lap. Machine Ireland though, not making the inroads he'd like. He gets it to about 4 tenths, then it drops to 7th, and it looks like Dom is the next man past Chris, and Chris just trying to stay out as long as those hards will let him, and back down the inside maybe can Chris go? No, as Dom went really deep, and Arthur defending for his life against Jake, who's got Lewis Craig for company behind. Lewis caught out a bit. He had a good qualifying and was doing okay in the race, but a bit of contact with the Haas has cost him a chance at some solid points. But it looks like Court Gill is the next man up to try and make a move. We're starting to get these DRS trains reforming though.
Phil Bardwell was saved by the DNF car of Diaki there coming through out of the pits after retiring. Jovial Manatee did look to try going out the inside there, but was blocked by that car. So very lucky Phil Bardwell taking advantage of the game and its very strange way of doing things when it comes to retiring in the pits, but I don't think Phil Bardwell will have much to stand on here as they're coming around the final corner. Court looks like he is raring to get a couple of positions in one turn here. He is all over the back of Jovial Manatee, almost pushing him around the corner here. Phil Bardwell's got a little bit of a buffer, but not enough to be able to keep back Jovial Manatee. Going to go on board with Jovial Manatee to see if he can make the move here. Will he dive up the inside? No, he holds back. Court will hold back as well. And I'm wondering what the thinking was here. Is it Jovial Manatee's going to try and make another move here? Doesn't look like it's going to happen because there was some closing speed there on board with Jovial Manatee. So another lap that Phil's able to stay out in front, but I'm sure the drivers are aware that Phil Bardwell has a 3-second time penalty.
Well, the drivers will know Phil has the penalty. Roy may be thinking, I'm not going to be able to close that 6, almost 7-second gap to the podium. I'm in 4th basically now, and I should be safe in the DRS from the attacks from behind. But Court is very racy, very punchy, going to maybe not back out of moves for another 11 laps in this Grand Prix, but we'll see. Is Roy going to be close enough to make the move this time? The gap has gone up a wee bit, but not by much, so it could be this time Roy just not wanting to risk any type of accident and costing himself when he knows Phil has the penalty. They've got the gap now to Aiden, so they don't need to worry about his teammate just yet. We'll see though. We're on board with the V-car coming round the final corner. The Christmas tree light on the McLaren is blinking. He's got nothing to defend with this time, and this is a slam dunk if you've ever seen one. And Casper looking very racy in the back, as well as Court going to try go down the inside of the McLaren. Not enough on the start finish straight. Good traction though from Phil, might allow him to come back round the outside. And I tell you what, Aidan Griffiths has sneaked past Casper, who's gone off there and got damage.
Yeah, Casper seems to have gotten wide on that corner there, got a rear wheel, dunked into the grass or the AstroTurf, and just seems to have gone wide on his own volition there. So it's unfortunate for Casper. He's having a hell of a bad race at the moment, and hopefully he can recover that for the second round of tonight's races. But yeah, Aidan Griffin's taking advantage there of the attrition that's happening within this race. And I'm sure Jovial Manatee will be relieved that he can start to stretch his legs now and get a move on. As Aidan Griffins gets a 3-second time penalty after that move around Casper from the spin there, probably from trying to avoid him. But Court now, he'll be the next to take on
And
Phil Barger. And
Calm's gone wide and lost the lead of the Grand Prix at the final corner. He's gone so deep. He's done what Lewis did in TGP2 at Azerbaijan. And Kai is now in the lead. And here comes Machine Ireland, the championship leader. They're going to be free wide into the first turn for the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And was that a bit of tactics from Cam? Because he seems to have won out in all that. Machine Ireland into second. And Cam must have had an absolute heart attack at the final corner there. He went so deep and somehow is the winner of all that situation. Heart and mouth moment for the pit crew and the technicians at Aston Martin, but it seems to be okay for the time being. Sorry to interrupt there, but I thought Cam was out of the Grand Prix for a moment there, and Kieran has gone from first to third on that back straight, and well, Cam at the moment going to have to get back in to concentration mode and try and defend, because the gap at the front now is very close.
it's very close indeed. And Kieran has been the loser out on this one, and he's going to be absolutely raging and is going to do everything he can as Machine Island is pushing Cam around the corners at the moment. Will he try to make a move somewhere down here? He thinks better of it, as he thinks the DRS is much more valuable, and Kieran as well is really, really close. This is one that is probably going to end up three wide again, based off what we saw on the previous lap, as Cam not quite hugging that corner there, and Kieran getting a bit of oversteer coming into the final corner and is out of that for the running. Machine Island going around the outside now with the DRS open. It looks like it's going to be an easy move coming in here, and Cam has no answer to that. And Machine Island will get another dose of DRS here. But will Kieran be able to try and close the gap and keep it a three-way fight?
The understeer on the kick cyber at the final corners cost them a chance of making a move on lap number 17 to begin the lap. But Kieran trying to hang on. The gap's about 7 tenths. Can he get back up into about 3 tenths to try and make a move? Machine Ireland taking the lead of the Hungaroring. I believe it'll be his third win of the season for the Irishman if he can hang on. But we've got plenty racing laps to go, and we have got a fight for the race win. Phil has been passed by Jovial Manny. Lewis Craig got past the damage-stricken Ferrari Casper as well, and Arthur losing touch to Aiden now. He's had a few moments in the middle sector costing him time, but now Courtgill really needs to get past Phil and get into this battle with Jovial Manny for 4th place. But here we go again. New Zealand come very close to Machine Ireland. We'll see if he can make the move. Kai has closed the gap. Has he closed it enough though?
It'll be interesting to see. So I'll stay on board with New Zealand Cam as they come down the back straight here, really using his overtake. Machine Island using nothing. He knows that it's going to be a done deal here as Cam makes the move up the inside. And will Machine Island try and fight back now here as he's got really close and got a great traction there? He's going to look to the outside, but that DRS is going to save Cam, and Kieran just still too far out of touch. Going back to Court here. Court still bottled up behind Phil, as Phil's still able to get the DRS off Jovial Manatee. And this fight for the top three isn't over, as they're even closer coming through turn 4 and into this hairpin. And as there going to be a move, oh my goodness, he's left the session. Cam's left the session.
Cam's disconnected from the Grand Prix. We've got a Jack Pearson in Japan. That allowed Bart Dude 1 to pick up the win situation here. He's going to tumble down the order, and this freeway battle has turned into a two-way slice of action. It's going to be Machine Ireland now and Kieran. Kieran got clear running. He had a bit of a moment at the final corner. It cost him the opportunity of making the move for the lead. He's managed to get the confidence back in the cockpit of that beautiful Sauber, and he might be able to try make the move now. 2 seconds back is Cam. I believe Cam though has gotten back into the session. Can he take control of the car? We're yet to find out. Here comes Kieran though. 3 times was the gap as we began the finish straight for lap 19. Down the inside goes Kieran. He locks up so deep, but he manages to keep it on the white line and cannot allow Machine Ireland to come back down the inside. That will turn to the outside. No, it won't. Phil Bardwell and Jovial Manny are in a bit of a battle, and Phil's been pushed off wide, and that allows Court to swoop down the inside, and Court now up into 5th place. And I believe this has cost Cam a chance to win. That disconnection there, absolutely gutted is Cam going to be after looking like he had the pace to win this Grand Prix.
The disconnection from Cam there seemed to light up the eyes of the drivers of Jovial Manatee, Court Gill and Phil Bardwell, as they saw that there was a glimmer of hope that they could get onto that podium spot after the 5-6 second gap that was there before the disconnection. So now the drivers, with 6 laps to go, are pushing hard to see if they can start to close that gap. New Zealand Cam seems like he's got a mountain to climb here as Chris Johnson gets a 3-second time penalty. And the fight for the lead is still not over as Machine Island all over the back of Kieran. This is probably going to be something we're going to see recurring lap on lap here. And there's going to be trading of positions across the finish line. But more importantly, who's going to be there at the front at the end of the race?
Well, we've got 6 laps to go as Machine Ireland down the inside before we even get to the braking zone leads the way. On lap number 20, we'll see if the championship leader can hang on to that coming down the hill. He should be able to with the DRS helping him. Is there any moves further back? No, it looks all as you were as the 2 McLarens with time penalties still not giving up without a fight to the likes of Court and Jovial Manny. We'll see. Is Kieran close enough up the hill? No, not going to be somewhere he can make the move. Calm in no man's land at the moment. We'll see if he can make a move as we get back round the final couple of corners as Cam picked up a penalty. So there is a chance for these guys battling for 4th place to pick up a podium here as we've got just about 5.5 laps to go. This is not over for the podium battle as Phil picked up another penalty. Is it going to be Papaya rules and maybe Aidan with the penalty might be allowed to try and get ahead of Phil to try and battle for some higher up points if possible. Maybe not worth the risk with about 9 races to go this season, but we'll see later on. We're going to come back now to the front. It is Kieran behind Machine Ireland chasing him for the lead of the Grand Prix. Cam has closed the gap by about 1 second on that lap. Is the battling up front costing these two time? Even with the time penalty, Cam's still got a chance here as Casper picks up a penalty, but he's down the order. I think he's had 2 stops. Court now down the inside of Jovial Manny for 4th place. He's 1.5 seconds off picking up a podium. Is Court going to have a chance of sneaking a late podium here?
Court there on the charge. He knows that the podium is on the cards if he can make that move. Cam will only get held up with this whole fighting at the front, and I'm sure that they will want to be finishing ahead on the circuit to get that all-important glory and bragging rights for the drivers. But yeah, Court now, he's on the push. Jovial Manatee is going to be under pressure from Phil Bardwell, so he's not going to be able to just concentrate on attack. But New Zealand Cam closing down the gap here. Not to mention that Speed Kai and Machine Island were quite spicy on the moves a couple of laps ago. And I don't think this will be over. I reckon that Machine Island is going to squeeze Kai here if he's going to try and make a move up the inside again. This is not far from over here, Jack.
Well, he's not as close as he was on the previous lap to trying to make a charge. He's not as close as Machine Ireland was. We'll go on board as he comes out of the final corner, and he just doesn't look close enough to the Red Bull to be making a move this time around. He will have the double doses of DRS though, because he's remained in 2nd place. There's no moves further back. It looks like everyone is going to stay as they were, as we're still watching Kieran. Not close enough. Is anyone further back closing to make a move? No, it looks like it's all as you were, and Kieran had a bit of a moment in the 2nd sector there, cost him the opportunity. So that is your time. 0.6 of a second should guarantee that you're safe to hang on to 1st place.
Yeah, indeed. So maybe his tyres are starting to drop off now, Kieran's. Machine Island maybe has a bit more in the tank with his tyres. Or it could have been that there was just a cool-down lap, as Kieran seems to be on the back now of Machine Island as we're going through these corners. Not as close. Oh, and he has a slight moment coming out of that swooping right-hander. And so he's lost some time there. This is only bringing Cam back into the mix to try and get fighting on the track here. We obviously know he's going to finish behind these drivers with that 3-second time penalty. And Court Gill seems to just be a bit too far back and losing pace now, and it doesn't look like the podium is on the cards as he's under pressure from Jovial Manatee and Phil Bardwell from the back. As Kieran coming around the final corner, again, too far back, very wide out of that final corner, and he's not going to be able to challenge into turn 1 here.
Nope, he'll close the gap, but not close enough to make any type of move. Barring any mistake, the 0.6 of a second seems to be the sweet spot. We're on board with Jovial Manny, not close enough. Is Aaron Griffin's close enough? No. So yeah, it seems to have settled down in terms of overtaking, but it is intense on the track. Everyone seems to be very close together. And with 2.5 laps to go, Kieran is closing the gap now to 3 tenths. Maybe a few cool down laps, getting a bit of battery back in the tank. He's got about 25% more ERS harvest than Machine Ireland, who is saving in the middle sector here in helicopter cam. We'll watch these two and see if these guys are going to be close to making any moves on the start finish straight. Machine Ireland seems to have had Keenan's number on laps 21 and 22. Is he going to have his number this time? We're going to be starting the penultimate lap of this Grand Prix. It has been a very fast, action-packed start to finish race. We did have the safety car, but at this 2 laps didn't do too much harm to the Grand Prix. It's still been very entertaining now. We're starting the penultimate lap. Machine Ireland from Keenan. Is Keenan going to have enough in the tank to challenge this time round? He's closing, not using the battery. Keenan, a couple of seasons ago, did this to Casper where he waited, and on that last lap he pounced and won the Grand Prix. With Cam behind, he might not have that luxury here at the Hungaroring.
You might not have that luxury, but it's it seems to be advantage Kieran at the moment as Cam now half a second behind these guys, despite that 3 second time penalty. Caught now 7.7 seconds behind, and there's no papaya rules going on here. Aidan Griffin's still stuck behind his teammate Phil, who has that extra penalty on top of things, so he's not been allowed to go and try and fight Jovial Manatee or even Court at this point. But yeah, I think that all eyes as Machine Island goes wide there. Got to be careful that he doesn't pick up a penalty himself and doesn't give away too much time. But Kieran here seems to be the one who I would put my money on to win the race.
Well, he's got one more, opportunity to make this move and win the Grand Prix, and he has the advantage that Machine Ireland doesn't. Machine Ireland has got to think about the championship here. Win the race if you can, but pick up as much points as you possibly can. You're leading the way in the championship. You're ahead of your closest rivals. The gap is closing between the top two. He's going defensive early. The Red Bull trying to hang down the inside. He's going to push the Sauber wide, and this is possibly the last chance for Kieran to make the move and pick up the win here. Down the inside of turn number 3 goes. They make contact, and Kieran on the final lap, he's done it again, picking up first place, and it looks like he might win this Grand Prix as Court and Jovial Manatee are battling. They need to not battle because Cam's picking up another penalty and might lose the podium. He might just be safe. The interval looks big enough that he's going to hang on. Machine Ireland, he did defend, but at the end of the day, had to think about the championship. He might be able to sneak it back down the inside. Not winning the race is going to hurt him. But you don't want any damage. You don't want to DNF here. Do not risk any late lunges into the final few corners just to pick up 7 more points when you're picking up a healthy lead in the championship. It was 20. It's looking like he's going to pick up 8 more points on his closest rivals. And he just needs to try hang on now. And if Kieran makes a mistake, pounce. But it looks like as we come round the final corner, he left it late. He left it very, very late here at the Hungaroring. But round the final corner, Kieran's going to pick up his 3rd win of the season from Machine Ireland. Cam is going to hang on to the podium. In a few moments, Court's going to come round and pick up 4th place. Jovial Manatee is going to hang on to 5th. Phil is going to get passed by his teammate Aidan. Arthur's going to come 7th. Phil's going to drop to 8th. Dom Smith is going to come home in a very lonely night for Dom, but solid points. Looks like Jake going to come home in P10. That's a good result for Jake and 5 solid points for Williams. Lewis Craig with time penalties I think is going to drop down the order, but it's 11th provisionally. Yes, Wet Lemons makes it a 10th, 11th for Williams. Chris Johnson going to come home in 13th, and a very, very disappointing night for Scuderia Ferrari. 14th and 15th, the last of the runners. Casper was lapped, and it was only Darky and Matt Tibbles that did not finish the Grand Prix. Matt Tibbles' DNF was the reason for the safety car earlier on. And just like in Spain a couple of seasons ago, Keenan left it until the last lap, and boy was that the right thing to do. He picked up the win. Machine Ireland fought it with all he had, but just didn't have enough in the tank. It's Keenan from Machine Ireland, and Cam, even with the moment and the disconnection, still managed to pick up the podium.
Indeed, it's all fallen apart now that I'm not racing with Ferrari tonight. But yeah, it's a brilliant win for Kieran there. He did exactly what he needed to do. He saved up his ERS. He made the move when it mattered most, and he's come out with 4 points there. As they all celebrate on the podium here. Not Machine On drove a great race, but again, when you've got that powerful DRS, it's difficult to keep the drivers behind. So credit to all the drivers there, and unfortunate for Cam with the disconnection, and in turn the extra penalties that were added onto his time as well.
So that is your order for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We've already gone through it, so I'll not go through it again just to save the voice. But we have got a one-shot qualifying and 18 laps in Catalonia, Barcelona, Spain, coming your way in the next few moments. And that now makes it week one. We had Cam and Fishy picking up the win. Week two, we had Fishy and Casper double win for Keenan in round 5 and 6. Cam picked up the win at Canada. Phil picked up Bahrain for the second season running. Jean picked up the win in Singapore. Abu Dhabi was Court Gill. And Kieran puts himself back on the top step now. So 3 wins in 11 races. Kieran's not been here for the 11 races. Is this another season that Kieran's going to regret not having the consistency or the attendance? Because he now does seem to have the pace to challenge for TGP1 wins and titles, but just doesn't seem to have the consistency or the attendance. Is that something that Kieran, if he can get them both to happen in the same season, like Casper did, like Cam did, and looking like Machinard did this season, is that something he can do and maybe strides something we'll have to see and find out in the few seasons if we see one on F1 2025. But it's 18 points now for Machine Fishy. He didn't pick up the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so that is him on 192 points going into round 12 tonight in Spain. Jovial Manti only picked up 10 points, so that only puts him on 154. Courtgill picked up 12, which puts him on 147. So Machine Fishy picking up a healthy extension of his drivers' championship lead already, and it looks like with 11 races down, 8 to go, it looks like Machine Fishy is the favourite now, the odds-on favourite to win the championship. We will see. Much more. But we're at half time now. It's 17 laps, not 18 for me. I miscalculated my maths. My quick maths wasn't the best. But we'll see. We'll have a quick break, and me and Luca will catch our breaths for the next 60 seconds or so before we get going again, and we'll see you for qualifying again. One-shot qualifying. We're going to put the pressure on the man that won the race, Kieran. But we'll see you in about 60 seconds as the guys just ready up and have a few half-time oranges. Well, we are back for Spain. We're on the paddock, just giving a simple reminder to the drivers to put their setups on. We don't want any correlation issues coming out of the drivers or any excuses on why you couldn't finish a lap. It looks very dull and gloomy here in Spain. Maybe a wet qualifying or a wet race coming our way. It's dry at the moment, but it does look very dark and gloom with 10 seconds to go. We are going to watch Kieran, who picked up the win in Hungary, and we'll see if he can do any decent in qualifying here. We'll try and find Speed Kai's name. We did find it and lost it again. We are now on board with the Cyber Driver. 3 race wins this season. He comes into turn number 1, takes a bit of the curve through turns 2 as well. We'll see as he comes round the long right-hander for turns number 3. It's not looking very quick at the time being. It's only 11th for Kieran, but he jumps up on the end of the first sector. It's purple for Keenan at the moment. So he picked up the win and he's heading towards a pole position if he can hang on to his lap. Rounds turns 4 and 5 looks pretty clean as well now. Using all the curb on the left hand side he can. Try and avoid that sausage curb on the right, as otherwise you're going to get spun out into the wall. Up the blind hill now, where I DNF'd in my debut Spain race. Kieran not done that. Now, using the DRS brake at the late as you possibly can. Swooping left now, a bit of understeer from the front of the car, just wanting to give up at this part of the track where it's so tight and twisty. They've taken away that final chicane years ago, so it's flat now through the double right-hander on the run up to the lane. Is it going to be quick enough for pole position for Speed Kai? And he's handled the pressure with ease. It's a 12 flat for Speed Kai, and that is pole position. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was 2 P2s in a row for Casper tonight on the front row of the grid for the defending champion who came last in Hungary. So it looks over for him in his defence of the championship now. He's over 100 points adrift, and it seems to be whoever is the defending champion has a crumbling defence the following season, the last few years in TGP1. Maybe some rumours that the soft cop's going to have to come back and show the guys how to defend his championship. We'll see though on F1 2025 if that's something that comes to fruition. So, we didn't get the qualifying order from Cody's. I don't know why. The update doesn't seem to have fixed that issue. It is a dry race. We don't know the qualifying order because Cody's haven't showed us it, which is disappointing. It seems to be updates aren't fixing anything on this game. But what do you make of that qualifying session? Look at him. A very quick lap from Kieran. He handled the pressure of the commentators watching him. Pole position now. Can he pick up 2 wins in a row again for the next week in a row?
Yeah, this is a difficult circuit to keep the driver behind you as it is such a long run down to turn 1 and they can just jump into the slipstream. But it all depends on if he can get a decent start off the line here. Can he outrun Casper into turn 1 and can he keep him behind? Not a track that's easy to follow around in the middle sector as well. But yeah, I think Kieran, he's got the momentum with him. Casper has not got the momentum with him, and he's going to be trying to prove all the other drivers that he can get the win here today. But we've got caught there, I believe, in the top 4. So let's see, as it's 2, 3, 4, 5 lights illuminated. And it's lights out and away they go. And they get some decent starts from the grid there as they're coming into it. Kieran is already under pressure from Machine Island as Casper, he's in the mix here with caught in behind. And can Machine Island go around the outside? He's getting squeezed. Machine Island, he's got the advantage at the moment, but Kieran coming up the inside at the moment as Machine Island round the outside. He's going to get this move stuck in there as Casper, he's not out of the question here. Kieran breaks late and Machine Island is still sticking around the outside as Casper is having a moment, and Kieran has somehow managed to hold on to him. There's a spin. There's a spin there, and Casper, he's out wide, and oh my goodness, it's another race for Casper to forget here, Jack.
Well, Casper wasn't really his fault there. He was left hanging out to dry by the 2 battling as Machine Island lost the front end, and that forced down into 11th. Phil will spin on the exit of turn 2, and that's ruined his race. He's down in 15th now. And Kieran on those medium tyres, a bit more understeer on the front of that Cybercar, just not allowing Kieran to get the foot planted and racing. And I tell you what, Arthur is up into 4th place and battling Court for the final step of the podium as they go round to begin lap number 2. The DRS going to be enabled this lap, but not on the cars in the back straight here. Machine Ireland absolutely defenceless this time round, and Kieran going to sail past and into the lead of the Grand Prix. Arthur not able to pass Court, and it looks like it's as you were for everyone behind. Joe Vimanity 6th, 5th, Aidan Griffin 6th, Dom 7th, Lewis Craig 8th, Casper's back up into 9th, Chris Johnson with a great start in 10th, and Darky in 11th on the softs. A wonderful start for the Haas driver. We'll see if his teammate, who's up into 4th place, can get any higher. A wonderful start for the Polishman Arthur. Can he get any closer to a chance at the podium?
I was clearly talking rubbish there in the pre-commentary for this race, as Machine Island and Kieran have been able to follow very closely in these first couple of laps between each other to keep them in touch for the DRS. Machine Island with the DRS, Court with the DRS, Arthur with the DRS, Jeffrey Humanity with the DRS as well. So we've still got a 5-way fight for this win as it stands on lap 2. Can the drivers stay close enough in the closing stages of the race to keep this going? And Machine Island, he's going to be all over the back of Kieran. Court slightly behind, but he's going to get a great tow as well. And let's stay on board with Machine Island. The speed Kieran gets the fastest lap of the race so far. He's going up the inside. Kieran squeezing him, as we saw in Hungary as well. But Machine Island's made the move stick and caught right on the back of Speed Kieran as they come round here. Arthur's still in touch as well as Jovial Manatee. And this is far from over. And some great racing between the drivers.
Well, everyone is so close together. The Ferrari and the Red Bull of Casper and Lewis Craig battling away, and it looks like Casper has got the move done on the Scotsman in for 8th place. Further forward, Court and Arthur are battling down the inside. Goes Arthur in the Haas, and what a move this would be on a former TGP1 race winner for Arthur, and he's got the move done, and onto the podium goes the Haas. What a move that was. Arthur now, can he challenge for the lap close to the top 2, and this race is very close at the moment as we get going again on to the start-finish straight. We're going to be in the next few moments. You see in this wonderful shot how close everyone is together. Everyone with DRS on the field, all the way down to 14th is the first driver with no DRS. And is now Arthur going to be close enough? He's so close to the top 2. This might be a three-way battle on this lap to make a move. Here comes Kieran. No, he goes right, he goes left. He does the flippity flop on Machine Iron and back into the lead he goes. Is anyone else further back going to make a move? Aidan no thinks better of it on his long-term rival Roy. Those guys have had plenty of battles in the past, Scotland v Ireland. We'll see if Aidan can get ahead of Roy in the next few moments. Dom Smith biding his time as well. Got to keep an eye out on his wing mirrors. He's got Casper for company, not wanting any accidents as well. Casper going to try cut his way back through this field if he can and try get back up the order and picking up a podium. We've had an accident further back. Looks like the Haas of Darkies dropped a few places.
Yeah, as Arthur, he is all over the back and was pushing Machine Island through the first corner. He really needs to take advantage of these soft compound tyres as they will start to fall off in the next few laps or so, and the medium runners will really start to come into their own and start to stretch their legs on those tyres as they keep their tyre life throughout, as Court now seems to be starting to close the gap here on Arthur and starts to be making some moves as he knows that those tyres will start to drop off. As we go onto the back straight, Machine Island's DRS wing wide open. He's going to make a move here. Kieran not even going to really challenge it as he knows that that's a done deal. Arthur still too far back. Court is trying to keep pushing, but Arthur, then again, those soft compound tyres are really gripping in as he's going around those corners. So not to count Arthur out at the moment, but he's running out of time to make that move stick as Tibos has DNF'd.
Yeah, retirement for Matt Tibos, the second of the night. Not been a great night for the former TGP1 champion. Hopefully he can get the confidence back for next week and get going again. But Arthur doing what he needs to do on those soft tyres. He's got about another 2 or 3 laps before they're really off the face of the earth. And we'll see if he can. Darky's also retired, so that's the same 2 retirements we had in Hungary here tonight. We've also lost a driver between the 2 races. Not sure who that was. But Arthur now very close to the back of Kieran. Court very close to the back of Arthur. Those softs going to need to make the move done sooner rather than later, or he's going to have to come into the pits and try. He's the only driver on the alternate strategy in the top 6, top 7. But we'll see now as we get going for this sixth time now on the start-finish straight. Is Kieran going to be close enough to the back of the championship leader? These two were battling the whole race in Hungary and ended up picking up the win on the last lap. Did Kieran? Not close enough as Arthur's trying to sneak down the inside. Not close enough. Casper and Dom Smith are battling. It looks like Dom Smith's been passed, and Arthur now down the inside on Kieran at turn 3. Picks up P2. Can Kieran go back down the inside? No. Arthur goes very wide on onto the grass, and that's cost him his P2.
And Court's going to try and make a move round the outside of Arthur here, taking advantage of that. But Arthur seems to have the grip at the moment to keep that place. But Court still hanging it round the outside here. They've got to be careful to make contact here. You don't want to be spinning at this point as it'll completely drop you to the back of the field, getting caught in that gravel trap. And Court's made the move stick. Has he got the DRS still? He does, to be able to keep Arthur behind. Arthur under pressure from Jovial Manatee, but Jovial Manatee just too far back to make the move here. But he is vulnerable now. He is vulnerable as Court goes wide. And there's a little bit of contact there as they're making contact through this corner, and Arthur's had to drop back. But Arthur now seems to have his tyres becoming an issue, and he dives into the pits as he knows that those tyres will become a further issue later on in the laps. So he's going to make the move to hard or medium tyres moving forward, and that puts Aidan Griffiths up into 5th place.
And Aidan Griffiths is under pressure here. He might be losing 5th place. No, he defends, beautifully hanging on to his place. Former runner-up in TGP1. He's got plenty of TGP1 race wins. He's on the back of Roy now. Can he challenge and get into the top 4? Something Aidan's not had in a very long time in TGP1. The confidence and pace in the car to get these sort of finishes that he used to get on the old generation of games. Can he close the gap and get into the top 4 and score some solid points? He's got Casper for company behind and just got to keep an eye out on behind. He doesn't want to focus too much on the cars ahead and make him vulnerable to the cars behind. Dom Smith and Lewis Craig, though, a couple of drivers we kind of take the mick out of for being that midfield battling each other. They're doing a good job to hang on to these guys, aren't they, in the top 6?
They are, as that's a move that Lewis Craig I thought was going to make up the inside of that new reprofiled turn 8, and he's making another move here on Dom. He's really putting him under pressure into these closing stages, but he knows that he's got some extra pace here to take Dom on. As Dom he really seems to be struggling around that final corner, and this could be an easy move for Lewis Craig, despite the fact that Dom's got the DRS. Dom, he squeezes here, he squeezes there, but there's not going to be a move done as we go back to the front of the field. Kieran not quite able to make that move, but there is Aidan Griffiths and Casper fighting away. Casper up the inside, coming round turn 3. Can he make it stick? Can Aidan keep enough to go around the outside here? It looks like it's a done deal for Casper, and Aidan will try and fight back, but I don't think he's got the pace to do it.
Aidan gave it absolutely everything, trying to defend for his life, and it was just the car placement down the inside that stopped him. He should have the DRS and give him an opportunity to get back at him. Lewis Craig was trying to make a move, and Dom wasn't able to do so on that lap. Can car number 37 do it this time round? We'll keep an eye out and keep you updated on the action. He's swooping now up the blind hill and the blind corner. He's close to the Mercedes, but not enough straight to make the move now. We're going round for the 9th time on to the start-finish straight. Court Gill is a lot closer to Kieran than Kieran is to Machine Ireland. Is Court injecting himself into the battle for the race win here? Jovial Manny is the first medium runner to call it a day and come on to the hards or the softs. We'll see in a few moments. Lewis Craig has passed Dom as Dom's into the pits now. So Dom not risking an undercut from Lewis. We'll see if that costs Lewis at the end. Jovial
Machine
Manny,
Ireland's made a mistake here. He's made a mistake. Sorry to interrupt here. I thought he was going very wise, but it looked like he made a mistake. And Kieran right on the back of Machine Island now as caught back into this mix. Apologies to interrupt there, but it looked like for a second that Kieran was going to dive up the inside of turn 3.
We'll keep an eye on Kieran, see, because Court Gill is right on these guys, Jeff, and Casper, who had the incident, is right on these guys. And maybe one to watch out for the undercut here. Jovial Manny trying the undercut himself. Can Casper do the same? And with Giovanni boxing, these guys might need to all come into the pits here. Lewis Craig going to be the only one that probably needs to stay out just in case of the double stack. But the top five might have to be thinking pit stop now that Roy stopped, because he is very close. What is the gap? 21 seconds, and that is closing as we speak. These guys might be at risk. Machine Ireland and Kieran might be okay. Top four in the pits. Aiden's going long. Lewis Craig double stacking at Red Bull. We'll see how that works out. We're
Yeah,
watching.
let's see. Will it ruin Lewis Craig's race from double stacking here? He has got a bit of a delay in the pits, and they're starting to work on the car now, so not too bad. Aidan Griffiths, as you say, takes the lead of this race with Jake Warrior in there in second place as well. But where has Jovial Manatee come out here? Jovial Manatee will make up some spaces. Can he make a place up on Kieran here? He goes around the outside of both Machine Islands. Can he make the move stick as he gets pushed wide? We also have Arthur in the background there getting pushed wide as well. But Jovial Manatee has managed to make it stick on Kieran. And can he start to make some inroads as Kieran looks like he's going to try and make his way back, but just doesn't have the pace to go up the inside there on those colder tyres that Jovial Manatee has had a whole lap to be able to warm up on. So I think the undercut for him has worked out at this point. But can he start to make some inroads on Machine Island and make that undercut work for both of those positions?
Well, he's absolutely put himself in the championship race hunt. He's in second place in the championship. He needs to take these risks to try and close the gap to Machine Ireland. That has been extending as the races go on. He's done that ever so beautifully. He's into second place now. The undercut working a treat for Roy and VCarb. Is he close enough to try and make a move? Probably not. He's going to have to do some defensive work in the next few moments. Aidan Griffiths in the pits is going to lose out to all these guys. He's going to have better tyre delta though on the final few laps. Here comes Kieran though. He's closing the gap. He goes to the right hand side of the track as Court Gill goes to the left in the background of your shot, and it looks like Court Gill's going to get past Arthur as well. Arthur's going to try to defend it, not enough in the tank. Kai and Court make up their respective moves, and Machine Ireland now only 4 tenths ahead. We have got a very spicy second half of this Spain Grand Prix coming your way.
We certainly have, and the drivers will now have to start to try and settle down if they want to go take on Machine Islanders. They're going to just start to lose pace to Machine Island if they're not careful. So Kieran really here needs to get his head down, needs to get some good laps in and be able to get into a position to take on Machine Island for the net lead of this race. Jovial Manatee, he'll be wanting to try and stay on the back of Kieran here, as Kieran seems to be closer to Machine Island than Jovial Manatee to Kieran. And Court Gill, he's starting to make some inroads now that he's managed to get past Arthur in these early stages. Arthur still holding back Casper, and that soft to medium strategy seems to be the slower one at this stage of the race. But can Arthur make some inroads later in the race where he'll have some better tyre life compared to the soft runners?
Something we'll find out in the next few moments as Kieran sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on lap number 12. He's going to go to the right hand side of the track. He lifts off a wee bit. More mind games from the Kicksaber. He did it to him on the last lap as Aidan's passed Dom Smith at turn number 1. But yeah, Kieran did this against Casper. He wouldn't overtake him. He would just stay behind and then made the move on the last lap. He's just done it earlier tonight. He made the move on the last lap and picked up a win. Is that something he's trying to do again as Neiljack has passed Jake for 11th place in the Ferrari? Casper, though, finally passed Arthur on the start-finish straight. Can Casper get himself back up into contention for a race win here?
Possibly, as Kieran's just had a bit of a moment there before he turns into this long right-hander onto the back straight. And Court Gill, he's got some great pace on him at the moment as well. So Kieran can't be too relaxed in the move when he's trying to make the move past Machine Island, as he's not got the same comfort that he did in Hungary when he made the move on the last lap. So he's going to have to be careful. He's made another slight mistake coming out of that right-hander and onto the penultimate corner. So Court now, he's all over the back of Kieran as Kieran's made a couple of mistakes here. So can Court stay on the back here and put the pressure on Kieran so Kieran can't stay comfortable? We'll have to see. He's not quick enough at this moment in the race, but that doesn't mean he's dropping back too much as well. As Casper on the back of Jovial Manatee, he's making inroads as well. He'll need to bide his time on these moves too. So this is not a done deal for Kieran on Machine Island for the win here. Court is well and truly in this battle as well.
Yeah, we'll see Casper closing the gap to Roy. Maybe Casper can get past Giovanni. Seems to be struggling for race winning pace at the moment. He seems to be at that podium level, but just not quite quick enough to challenge the likes of Kieran and Court at the moment in time. Casper had the spin, of course, on lap one. Wasn't really his fault. Is he trying, or does he have the pace to pick up a win? It does look like it. If he can get past Gioviamani in the next few moments, we'll see if he can do that. We've only got 4 laps to go once we cross the line again. We'll see if that's something that the Scuderia driver can do. We're going to go to the front and see the top three battling for the win of the Spanish Grand Prix. Machine Ireland having to do some defensive work again. It looks like we're on board with the Mercedes as Kai goes a bit wide. He'll have the DRS, but not the greatest run. He is closing that gap like you'd imagine. Casper has already passed Gioviamani on the start-finish straight. No one able to pass at the front three, and Casper now past Roy. Can Casper close that gap and make this three-way battle for the lead a four-way battle?
Possibly, it looks like Machine Ireland still has plenty of ERS in the tank to be able to defend on the next lap. Kieran, he's not using his ERS on the straight and is just toying with Machine Ireland around the back straight, knowing that he's got almost 100% ERS load at the moment. Caught in a good position with his ERS as well. And Casper now joining this fight to make it a four-way fight for the win, with Jovial Manatee starting to drop off a bit here and Arthur way off the pace with those mediums now. So it is a four-way fight for the win. Anything could happen here. And this is going to be interesting with 3 laps to go as we cross the line the next time round. So Kieran seems to have really closed the gap at this point. Court still holding that gap that he had on Kieran. And we're going to come into the back straight and see if somebody is going to try and make a move here.
Well, me and CGH never get a moment to rest on commentary. Nice to see that it's staying this way. It's Court Gill now on the back of that Cyber. DRS open on both cars, and that is allowing Kieran to close the gap down the inside. Will both drivers go to try and steal the two positions? There's wheel banging between the Mercedes and the Red Bull. We've seen that over the years in Formula One. Who's going to win out in this battle? Looks like Court down the inside of this corner won't have the run, and they're into the wall. It looked like Hamilton and Rosberg-esque. They've both got damage. And Casper now right on the back of Kieran.
That was an unfortunate mistake there as Machine Ireland just completely closed the door on Court. Court held his line and Machine Ireland was just didn't give him the room. So I do feel sorry for Court as he really tried hard to get up to that podium position. But yeah, he's going to have to come. He's either going to drop down and lose a lot of time, or he's going to have to come into the pits and replace that wing. We can't tell from the onboards at the moment how much damage he has. But this has brought Casper right into contention now. Kieran is the sitting duck with 2 laps to go after we cross the line the next time. And Casper could be turning his fortunes around from a terrible race in Hungary and a bad start to Spain. Can he make the win here? Can he do it? He's got 71% ERS. Kieran has 90%. They're both using it. He has the DRS. Kieran moving to the inside. Casper has gone past now. Kieran letting him through. And I wonder if he's going to try and recreate the move that he did in Hungary on the final lap, knowing that the DRS is really strong around here. So this is going to be an interesting one. Can Casper make some kind of inroads to get a gap? I don't think he can, but we'll see what happens.
Well, here comes Eddie Griffins round the outside of turn 4. Not close enough to make the move on Arthur. And well, I watched Spain earlier on in the weekend, and well, lap 12 to lap 18, 17, Casper led every single lap. Kieran was behind, wouldn't make the move, was lifting off, not using the DRS, not using the ERS, and there you go, the penalty for Casper. Kieran not even going to have to make the move to win at this stage, but Kieran left it very late, just like he did in Hungary, overtook in the last lap and picked up the points and the win. Aiden is past Arthur now, 4th place for Aiden. This is an astounding race for him. Dom and Lewis in 6th and 7th, great points for them, but what Kieran needs to watch out for is Gioviamani. He's within a second now of the top two. Casper weaving down the straight, which obviously is allowed to an extent, not that much I wouldn't imagine. And Kieran into the lead now. Casper with a penalty needs a lot more than weaving down the straight to hold on to win. Arthur's back past Aiden. Lewis has passed Dom, but has a time penalty. Lewis must have picked that up in like the last 20 seconds, and Lewis just has absolutely no luck. He gets a good result and then gets a penalty. What are the chances? But we'll keep watching the front. It looks like Casper is losing touch, and he's actually pulled out and has allowed Roy on the final lap ahead of him because he knows the penalty isn't going to change anything now for him. So it looks like Roy is going to come home in second place. And Kieran, for the second week this season, is going to pick up both race wins in the same night. Round 5 and 6 he did it. It looks like rounds 11 and 12 he's going to do so. And Aidan Griffin's a last lap attack on Arthur. Not quite enough, is it? He's doing everything he can to try pick up fourth. We're going to have to cut to the front though, because Kieran, for the second time tonight, picked up pole earlier on, wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Roy comes home in second after a wonderful strategy. Casper comes home in third. Arthur holds on to fourth from Aidan in fifth. Dom Smith in sixth place. Looks like Court Gill is going to beat Lewis for seventh. Lewis Craig seventh. Machine Ireland will actually swap places. Machine Ireland eighth. Lewis Craig ninth. Chris Johnson picking up P10. Jake picking up 11th. Nell Jack is going to come round the final corner for 12th, I believe, because Phil has a penalty. Yep, and I believe that is your order. Kieran, well, two fantastic drives. He picked up pole in one of the races. He should have had the fastest lap as well here at Spain. For the second week this season, he's had a pretty fantastic week. 4 wins in 4 races, a fastest lap and a pole position. If Kieran could just be here every week, he might have a chance of picking up a championship eventually.
Indeed, and just as I thought that Casper's luck was going to turn around in the final few laps, he gets a 3-second time penalty and completely loses all chances of that win. I feel so sorry for him tonight. He has tried his hardest. He's tried to make a comeback, and the odds are just ever against him. But Kieran is the dominant driver from tonight. He has driven a brilliant race in Hungary. He drove a brilliant race to keep this win as well, and he's a well-deserved winner for both of them as well.
Well, that is your final order for the Spanish Grand Prix. 2 fantastic races once more. Kai picked up double victories. He picked up pole, he picked up another fastest lap, and cements himself as a top driver, when he's here, of course, in TGP1. Roy and Courtgill close the gap on Machine Ireland after Hungary, but overall, in the night, Machine Ireland picks up a healthy lead in his championship. 8 races to go, folks, in this season of TGP1. Hopefully we'll have Luca driving again next week, as it's wonderful to have him in the commentary box, but we love seeing him on the road. It's been a better season for Luca as well, so we'll hopefully see him in the Scuderia in Japan, and we've got a 50% race coming your way at Monza. What are your thoughts going into next week? 50% at Monza. I do believe you're one that is for the 50% races.
Yeah, I'm definitely for them. It just gives you a bit more chance for some strategy. I know that obviously there is a bit of chance with strategy on the 35% races, but the 50% just starts to throw out a bit more kind of real strategy as to what you can do. You can even potentially look at a 2-stop if you've got the pace there as well. So it's definitely one I'm for, because it helps the drivers like me that don't have all of the pace there to be able to at least get into some good podium, some good points positions as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Japan is one of my favorites too. So yeah, it's definitely one I'm looking forward to being in the driver's seat as well, as much as I love being in the commentary box.
Well, the gap between the top drivers that win the races and win the championship and the midfield in TGP1 is a very big gap. As much as we don't like to admit it, it is a big gap. So that 50% races might be able to help out and hopefully get some solid points. The man that won the 50% race last season was Casper. Jovial Manti was second and Courtgill was third. So next week we have got some fantastic action coming your way, of course. I'll be in the box again. Hopefully Luca will be in the cockpit. But we have enjoyed tonight. We hope you have too. And we'll see you next week on PS4.